evening and welcome to a special edition of the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves from just outside Louisville, Kentucky. And in Maryland, we have actually my co-host, esteemed friend, John Webster, and a special guest to talk about our favorite sport, the NFL. But first, John Webster, how you doing, Big John?
Hey, I'm doing great, Gary. Thanks for the introduction. We got our first segment this evening on our NFC East preview. We did it last year, went pretty well. We're coming back with it again this year. We got our special guest for the Dallas Cowboys, who will be the first football team that we review rather. And we have Dante Webster here today. But before we get to Dante, John Pitt, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Football is back. Let me ask the first question, Dante, if you don't mind. What do you think of Deuce Vaughn? Because these guys have no idea who that is. Give me your thoughts about Deuce Vaughn, then you guys can take over from there.
Probably like a novelty preseason thing, honestly. That's the sad part about it. It's nice, but I mean, you can't have two running backs that can't block. One of them got to be able to one of them has to be a short yardage guy. I'm sorry, I'm not really gonna be. I like the story. I put it like that. It's a very nice story. If he has a huge role in the regular season, seems redundant, kind of sort of with what Pollard can do, but. I could be wrong. I didn't watch that much. Where he went to TCU, right?
It was Kansas State, I think.
State. Okay. Yeah.
Are we rewriting Rudy? Is this what we're doing?
It's not rewriting Rudy because Deuce Vaughn actually is talented. It just seems like a redundancy for the Cowboys. Like on another team, he could work out. I just don't think it's going to work out. Cowboys more so need to change the pace back. But the other thing he has going for him is the Cowboys really don't have anything behind Pollard.
I think Rudy did have talent, Dante. He was able to make the team and get on the field and make some tackles.
Okay, got it.
Wait a minute. It must be only because he went to Notre Dame. He did it at Notre Dame.
He did Notre Dame
and got a movie out of it.
He ignored like the first 4 years of Rudy's career as well as the first was like 2 hours of that movie. He plays at the end, right? I've never seen it honestly. He plays at the end though, right?
He plays at the end, but he's an integral part of the program throughout the entire movie, throughout the entire 4 years.
He seems like a nice kid.
Can we move on?
Okay, that's great.
I mean, come on, because it's just like now we're getting into just flat out lies here, and this is not what we're about.
Rudy, oh man, I watched that movie one day.
I love the movie and everything, but let's not overstate it. And as far as Deuce Vaughn, I remember a guy that played for the Washington football team back in the 70s, Bob Brunet. Everybody was, oh, yeah, he's going to be this because he would have these good preseasons. Is he on any all-time list? I ask you, John Webster.
Who are we talking about? Deuce Vaughn, or are we talking about
Bob Brunet? Remember? That was a name you always heard.
Here's what I'll say, Gary. Brunet was a serviceable back for the Washington team back in the 70s. He came in the game
in preseason.
And he made it on the regular season too. He was on the regular season roster. Mm-hmm. But what if you're talking about a Washington team and who Deuce Vaughn really reminds me of, honestly, going back to the 70s, he reminds me of Herb Mulkey. John Pitt, look it up.
Yeah, that's another good one.
Yeah. That's what it reminds me of, to be honest with you. But enough about Notre Dame, enough about Kansas State and Deuce Vaughn. Let's dig into these Dallas Cowboys. Dante, what's going to happen with them this year, man? Talk to us.
What's going to happen this year? Same as every year, probably. They're going to be really good in the regular season. Then we're going to get to the playoffs, most likely. Yeah, I think they'll get to the playoffs. And then when they get to the playoffs, you win your divisional matchup, probably. No, you win your wild card matchup, and then that divisional matchup is going to be Mike McCarthy's going to screw us. It's going to be his fault. Sorry.
Let me start on the defensive side of the ball. And you have a defense that's looked upon as one of the best in the NFL, not just the NFC. I mean, you have Micah Parsons, you got Van Der Esch, you got Trayvon Diggs. You just added Stephon Gilmore as well. How's this going to mesh this year? What do you think? What do you think?
I have no concerns about defense. They are going to be a good defensive team. Defense knows how to generate pressure. Defense knows how to get turnovers because of guys like Diggs. And now you have Stephon Gilmore back there to help him out some, since Diggs' best skill is being a ball hawk, and that means he's going to get burnt. just happens to be a part. That's the way the game goes. It's like I'm not taking it away. He has an elite trait. He has an elite trait, and he got paid for having an elite trait. But if one of your corners is a ball hog, the other one needs to be really solid in coverage to make up for the fact that you're gonna give up big plays. That's just how it goes. But I
Well,
do.
Gilmore is looked upon as being a shutdown corner. He goes back to when he was with New England. I mean, he was with the Colts recently.
I don't think anybody that's over 30 is a shutdown corner. He's a serviceable cornerback. That's what he probably is at this point.
Do you start him or he's a nickelback?
Yeah, you start him. Yeah, start him.
Then I mean, you know Dallas better than me, but my thought would be if he's starting and you're starting Diggs too, and your nickname, you said it to me many times, the nickname you have for Diggs is Toast, then the other side, Gilmore has to be a shutdown corner.
I still can't use the word shutdown, and I don't use the word shutdown. So I keep telling you, I just need a corner that's good in coverage. You keep using the word shutdown. I'm not saying he has to go out here and be shut down. I just need solid in coverage. That's really it, because the other guy is going to give up big plays, and you keep trying to make me insult him, and I'm trying to actually do a good job of saying that he knows he has a very particular skill set. He literally is one of the best at what he does. It just so happens that what he does is chancy. It's like a person that knows how to jump passing lanes in basketball. Yeah, you can have like 2 or 3 steals, but you're giving up points most likely just because you're going to jump every passing lane. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to read routes, knows how to jump them. He's really good at that. You just need coverage on the other side. That's how that goes. He's going to get beat. When he gets beat, you just need other people there. So you do have to worry about, you just have to, bolster the secondary, which their secondary is good. They're strong at safety. Fine with the other side at cornerback. I think they'll be fine. The defense gives me I have no worries about the defense at all. The only worry at defense would probably be like defensive line. And I mean, the guy you drafted first round this year is questionable. It was a questionable pick when it was made, and it still is questionable because he's had an up and down preseason. So now the question is, have they really solved that interior defensive line presence? I don't. You know what? I have faith in Dan Quinn, but I'm not sure about that. So that is going to be the question.
Yeah. Dante, just to kind of follow up your point about your covers, that because everybody is so focused on the big play, you forget about the I'll say the rank and file guys that have to pick up the slack. And I always say, just like playing quarterback in the NFL, it's great if you're a star. It's great if you're a Patrick Mahomes or a Tom Brady or something like that. But you can win Super Bowls with serviceable players, i.e. Mark Rippon, i.e. Trent Dilfer, even though the defense carried that team. All I'm saying is that, your other cover guy is the guy that's probably going to help make more plays for you, than Diggs. Does that sound right?
Yeah. It's going to come down to the other guys. I mean, it's going to come down to Diggs too. He can't bite on everything, but I mean, I'm not going to,
Right.
The biggest thing is like, all right.
He's a risk taker, and I'll say he probably guesses right more often than not, but he's going to get beat on a lot of plays, as some corners do. People forget Deion Sanders got beat on plays too.
I'm not going to bring up Deion. We can't bring up one of the greatest to ever do it. And no.
I'm just saying. No, and that's not to throw shade, but I'm just saying he got beat on some plays too.
Everybody.
Yes. Yeah. What was his big secret? I mean, what was the key to success for him?
You gotta help me. Deion was before my time.
Okay.
Not before my time, but I'm not going to remember that. Though. I'm not going to.
Okay. All right. Well, let me. Okay. I'll ask Pops. What was Deion's best thing? What was his best attribute when he was covering somebody?
Speed.
He punched him in the mouth on the line. He slowed them coming off the line, and he was able to keep up with them step for step.
Gary, you're referencing a physical assault that I really didn't see. But what I will say is,
I didn't say it was physical assault.
You said he punched him in his mouth, Gary. You just said he punched him in his mouth.
Figuratively speaking, he hit guys coming off the line. He used those 5 yards to basically let them know it's like, this is the only shove you're going to get, but I'm going to slow you down.
But I think, in my opinion, I think what was his greatest asset was his speed, because he could get burnt on a first move, and his speed was so blinding that he could catch you before the ball would get there. That's my opinion. I think for him, You could,
Yeah,
and pretty
Deion
much
was a
you could,
total package. I
yeah,
mean,
and
he
you
was a total
literally,
package.
you literally didn't have to cover half the field with him because he could take whoever he had one-on-one, and you're not throwing on that side of the field. But we digress on the Deion, but
Okay.
but
Yeah, but let's talk about offense because I think that's where most of the attention is going to be. And I guess the story the last couple of days is about Dak being upset because they traded for Trey Lance and he seemed threatened. It's like, be quiet. Just be quiet. It's like you're not going to lose your job to Trey Lance. He is a third string quarterback, if that. You gotta if you can list 3 quarterbacks on your roster for game day, but how many are going to suit up? 2. And Dak has nothing to worry about. Dak needs to worry about Dak. And that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that one. Quarterback. Look, I've sat on here before and done the whole like Dak Prescott's a top 10 quarterback. Not doing that one again. At this point, I'll give him top half of the league. That's where I'll just leave it right there. He is top half of the league, and that's serviceable enough.
Fair enough.
I can live with that. That's fine. He won't have 15 turnovers again. That I could say. There won't be 15 interceptions. If he has 15 interceptions again, then something went horribly wrong. There won't be 15 interceptions. But then the other half of this is the passing game is going to slow down because Mike McCarthy wants to run the ball a little bit more. They already were a team that ran the ball at a very high rate. But now they're going to slow it down even more to make sure that their defense doesn't get winded. Their defense came back out there a lot because they were running plays extremely fast. They were top of the league teams in pace. So they were running a lot of plays. Now you're going to slow it down. So if you slow it down, the hope is that it works out. But you do lose stuff in the fact that you don't have Zeke back there anymore to block for him, and that does take away from some of your short yardage situations. So now the question becomes, is Dak going to run a little bit more, in my mind? Because used to be, you can count on that to get you a couple yards short because, he wasn't the fastest guy, but similar like a Big Ben, hard to bring down. Ever since he broke his leg, fair enough, he doesn't move as much as he used to. Less of a runner now. But now with some of those short yardage situations, is he going to go for some of those? So it will be an interesting thing to see how he's used this year. Now, like all the background noise about Trey Lance and all that type of stuff, that's kind of like null at this point. Yes, he's extension eligible. And he signed his contract the perfect way to get himself one more big bite and, well, probably multiple because he's like 28. Yeah, he can get another one. So the biggest thing is, yes, you will have to think about the extension thing. And Trey Lance becomes more insurance than anything else. But nobody's going to sit here and tell you, except for my father probably, that Trey Lance could take Dak Prescott's job at some point this season. That's probably not happening. If Trey Lance takes Cooper Rush's job by the end of this year, that's a success for Trey Lance. And that's not to knock him. It's just literally that Cooper Rush knows his job and knows what he's doing pretty well. He can come in and fill a role. I don't know if Trey Lance can do that. Yeah. And it's not. I just don't know.
And with Dak, I think this year, I want to see him. I want to see him use a tight end a lot more. I want to see more, shorter routes. Stop trying to go, say for the home run balls. Again, move the offense along, but complement your running game. Really try to keep the defense on the field longer and keep your defense off the field longer.
And then the question about tight end becomes who's going to be the one catching those passes. You lost Dalton Schultz in the free agency, so now it's like you have Ferguson, Schoonmaker, and I can't remember Hendershot. And but Schoonmaker's a rookie, Ferguson's unproven, Hendershot about the same. So yeah, that's going to be a question there because Dak does. He could use him more, like you're saying, but he does like to throw to his tight end. So now that's a whole bunch of receptions that are up for grabs at an unsure position. But go ahead, what were you going to say, Dan?
Well, I think you and Gary make very valid points about Dak Prescott. I will say what I've been saying for the last couple of years in regards to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott would be, in my opinion, a better quarterback if he stopped trying to concentrate on being a pocket quarterback. He has a set of wheels that he used to use at Mississippi State. He did a very good job at Mississippi State using them. Take advantage of it now. I think to his detriment, he will stay in the pocket too long. I think to his detriment, he will hold on to the ball too long. Use the wheels. If he does that 5 or 6 times, I'm not asking him to be Lamar Jackson. Let me be clear. I'm not saying that. But if he got on his wheels 5 or 6 times a game, it would help. Now, in regards to the Trey Lance situation, this is what I will say about that. Cooper Rush is more of a threat right now to Dak Prescott than Trey Lance. That's what I'll say. Trey Lance right now is a third-string quarterback who does not know the Cowboys' offense and has to learn it. But I want both of y'all to keep in mind this. This was a move made by Jerry Jones. Did not talk, and he doesn't have to. Let me be clear. Did not talk to Dak Prescott. Did not talk to Mike McCarthy. Doesn't have to. It's his team. He's the general manager. He's the president. Do whatever you want. But at some point, I don't care how confident you are. I don't care how much you believe in yourself. There's got to be something hitting you in the back of your head saying, what's really going on here? Let me be clear. I don't see Trey Lance starting this year. We'll concentrate on this year. But down in the future, who knows?
Well, I mean, question then he has to still prove it. I mean, I'm not saying I said he still has something to prove, but I mean, I haven't seen enough to where I'd believe that he's gonna take anybody's job anytime soon. Maybe in the preseason next year he comes out, wows, and looks completely.
The biggest detriment, I think, to the Cowboys is the president, general manager, owner, who happens to be the same person. Because I think if he decided to just be an owner and let the general manager do the job or just stay out of it, I think they would be much better off. You know, the Cowboys have had talent. I think you'll agree with me on that. Gary will agree with me, and John Pitt agree. They've had talent. I think some of the things that happens to them is between these two ears right here, and that's why they haven't moved on. And I think it's a lot of ego with Jerry Jones, and I think that's the struggle. And I look at it this year, Dak has a lot on the plate. He has a lot to do. Top 15, top 10 doesn't matter quarterback-wise in the NFL. But what does matter is what he does with this team this year. And they've made adjustments on offense. You've moved Ezekiel Elliott out. A lot of people say that he has lost a step. Okay, that's fine. And you got rid of Kellen Moore, and he found a job 24 hours later, I guess, with the San Diego Chargers. And Mike McCarthy's going back to calling plays. And oh, by the way, you have an owner, general manager, president who makes decisions about your personnel, doesn't tell you anything.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's been the problem for years. Yes, if we're just going to play the drama game, yes, that's always been the problem. That'll always be the overarching issue for as long as he's in charge. And newsflash, he's going to die in charge. So that's one of those ones they're not going to fix that.
It's been like that for 35 years, you know, that he's owned the team. You know, that's the whole thing. We've been having this argument for a generation, probably since before you came here, Dante. So, and that part's not going to change. I don't know. I don't think, you know, there'll never be a general manager. You know, it's just one of those things you just have to learn how to. You just have to keep grinning and bearing it with the Cowboys, with him meddling, and that's what I want to call it. You know, everybody wants to soft pedal and say, "Oh yeah, he's running the team," but I mean, you know, he's meddling, and he's messed up his own mix, rather, not his own mess.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, look, if you're just looking at the offense and things that have changed, you have the head, McCarthy calling plays again. You have him in that position. That's not where he's going to excel based on what happened last time and how things ended in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers darn near hated the man by the time that their time was over. So, I mean, that's not good. Then you bring in a new offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. I mean, the biggest thing that Kellen Moore found new interesting ways to lose games every year. I mean, in the playoffs, like, there's no reason why Zeke's last snap as a Cowboy should have been at center. You know, like stuff like that. Yes, that stinks. But then Kellen Moore does have his strengths, and the passing game was good. And now you're bringing in Brian Schottenheimer, and it's not really the sexiest move right there. It's not really what you're looking at. I mean, his last coaching, he was an analyst for us last year, and then if you look at what he did the year before, he was the passing game coordinator for the Jaguars. How were the 2021 Jaguars on offense? Not really good. And then before that, it was the Seahawks, who are hit and miss, and basically for years everybody was begging them to let Russ cook. So his track record doesn't really do that much for me. So yeah, in terms of that, yeah, the quarterback isn't going to be set up for success this year, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to give him a bailout or an excuse, but if they struggle on offense, the writing's on the wall that this isn't. It's not the way this is built. Isn't it? There are certain things that they've improved on in certain aspects. Like I feel far better about receiver this year than I did last year. But then there are like the other intricacies where it's just like, all right, this does have a great chance of all just blowing up. Like I feel better about their offensive line this year. Feel better about their receivers this year. Tight ends a question mark. Running back, I know Pollard's getting the ball, so we'll have some explosive plays out the backfield. Coaching is questions, and I do believe Zeke left too early because if I could have got Zeke back on a cheap $1 or $2 million deal, would have been great. Yes, he did lose a step, but he was still good at pass blocking and still good in short yardage.
Well, you mentioned receivers, so I take you like the addition of Brandon Cooks, right?
Yeah, I think that gives you like a solid number 2 receiver, and I think Michael Gallup's going to have a bounce back year. He tore his ACL late in the year before, came back. He wasn't that good last year. Usually takes guys a little bit of time to come back from an ACL. Not everybody's Adrian Peterson. That's one of one. When you come back from an injury like that, usually it's going to take a while to get your legs back under you and be an effective player. Doesn't happen like that for everybody overnight. So yes, last year he struggled. He wasn't the same big play threat that he usually was. I think he'll be better this year. There could be a chance that Jalen Tolbert, the rookie that they had last year who was a receiver, takes a step forward this year. They have the options, and Brandon Cooks is a solid hand to have as your number 2 receiver. Solid guy. And CeeDee Lamb, you already know what he is. They're fine as far as receiver goes in my book. Like, yeah, if you really wanted to be different this year, maybe you could have tried to sign a DeAndre Hopkins, but you weren't going to pay him. So it didn't matter. But, I mean, yeah, I think they're totally fine there. That's fine. The question mark literally becomes – the question mark right now is going to be quarterback because, last year Dak struggled mightily. You're not going to see that every year, but he struggled mightily, and then they have new coordinators in, and everything is changed up. So, is adding the timing and everything that they're going to add in the new system going to make it better? I don't know. Do I have faith in it? And Mike McCarthy's calling it. No, I've been asking Mike McCarthy to get fired since he got hired. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I have faith in it. I mean, he stumbled backwards into having Dan Quinn be his defensive coordinator and has been able to get some great success off of that. Not to say the offense has been bad, but their defense being as good as it has been the last couple of years has really helped them. So do I think he's a good coach? Mike McCarthy? No. So I think that they are still going to be, you're still fighting from the bench position in terms of coaching. Sometimes we have the 3rd best coach in the division. You know who I think the worst coach in the division is. So, I mean, we have the 3rd best, and that's not really saying much because the worst coach in the division is just a rah-rah troops kind of guy. I'm talking about Ron Rivera, in case you didn't know.
I never would have guessed. Okay. Dante, I'm going to ask you this. Okay, I'm going to pose this to you. And John had made a point about that. Yeah, he's got to use his feet.
Yeah.
But I think what he's got to do is use his feet more lateral and extend plays, more side to side than forward, because I think, his gift, and I remember this when he played at Mississippi State, was his ability to extend plays. Yeah, he had a great arm. Of course, he had a young offensive line in front of him. And for a lot of years, he had a great offensive line in front of him in Dallas. But the older you get and you've had that injury, you have to figure out a way to just extend plays. I just don't see him going forward as much as, say, trying to roll from side to side and do more checkdowns than he probably ever has, because that's been my biggest criticism of him, is that he locks in. He doesn't check off, one play, one guy. He locks in, and teams know that.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Yes, that would actually improve it. Doing more of that type of stuff. Anything, honestly, at this point, that would help out with ball security. That's going to be the biggest thing. So, yes, actually just checking down and just taking some of those short gains rather than trying to make everything the long home run play. Yeah, maybe that'll be some of the benefit of playing in the different system rather than Kellen Moore's, where it's like, okay, we're going to probably take a few of these explosive plays off the table, but maybe if you calm the offense down and just run it slower, maybe that actually will help him out, give him more time to process, and that'll definitely be a thing. Like you're saying, though, he does have to use his feet, move around the pocket more, and buy himself a little bit more time. And then, like my father's saying, when everything is like when all the passing lanes are shut down, he can't just sit back there and just try to just wing it and find somebody back there. He has to move. He has to just get out of there and just run some. He does run a little bit still, and I get it. He's injured. It's a little different for him now. He thinks about it before he runs. You're not going to win a football game thinking, most likely. In terms of that, let me rephrase that.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, think is the key word. It's I want to say instinct that I'd like to see him use. I'd say any quarterback. All this stuff about trying to make guys pocket passers. If you can't absolutely run at all, that's one thing. But for guys like Dak and Lamar, just the two off the top of my head, who have good feet, that their gift is extending plays. Just making guys. Not so much making guys miss, but getting in a position and looking for guys across the middle or deep or something and going there. I don't want to say it's like what we used to, play, on the field, in the sandlot or whatever, or in the street or something. Just look for the first guy you can find open. But again, give yourself a chance to make a play and give your guy a chance to separate. And because I think he can get the ball there.
Yeah, I agree with you. And so that is what needs to change this year. And like I said, we will see if they will make those changes. We'll see how they address it. At this point, a lot of the pressure's on him. So this is the most down people have been on him. Can he come in, right the ship, do things differently, and perform above expectation is the question. Right now, everybody's looking at it as, all right, it's a whole lot of noise going on in Dallas, unnecessary drama. Clearly, the team doesn't trust him because they bought in Trey Lance, which, but we have said that if he was bought into 9 out of 10 other places, probably not. He would just literally he's a luxury wherever he goes. That's basically what it is. It's a luxury. He doesn't swing the Super Bowl needle any. If he got hurt, Dak gets hurt, Cooper Rush is playing. I've seen Cooper Rush play before. We can win games with Cooper Rush, so I have no problem with that.
5-1.
5-1. And what did I tell you? I told you, as long as the defense is doing most of the heavy lifting and he doesn't have to do anything outside of his regular job, totally fine. When the pressure's on him to win a game, doesn't really happen like that, like most backup quarterbacks. To be fair, yet again, I don't think Trey Lance could win a game if he was asked as well.
I'm probably one of the few Washington followers because, my fandom left a long time ago, but one of the few Washington followers who really believes that the Cowboys are still kind of the not the standard, because Philadelphia's got it's got that right now, but I still feel like that's the team that everybody still is trying to beat because of one, who they are, and two, because of who they have, and those guys can still beat you. And I've told John this many times that the NFL needs the Cowboys to be successful because you have to have a team to root for and a team to root against. And sometimes it's the same team, like the New York Yankees in baseball.
Yeah, and I agree. When the Cowboys are relevant, it makes the NFL that much more relevant. And, do I think they'll be relevant this year? They'll be relevant, but I'll let Dante. I'll tell you what I think at the end, but we'll let Dante say what he thinks they'll do this year and all that kind of good stuff.
I have to look at the schedule again, but I don't think they'll get. They've already done 2 12-win seasons in a row, so I can't say 12 win. That's a lot to ask 14 to win 3. It's to win 12 games 3 years in a row. And if they were to win 12 games again and not win a Super Bowl, that would be, or not even win a Super Bowl, or not go to a conference championship, it's a stinging indictment. At that point, you kind of need to start looking around and decide if you need to clean house, because it's not good. I'd probably say, and the division got better, but I will say the division also got better. I'll probably say 10-7. I see 10 wins. Nothing wrong with that. 10 wins is doable. Like I said, you won't win as many as last year, but I do think there's still a super good squad, and there's no reason why we can't have the best defense in the NFL. That is in play for the Cowboys, having the best defense in the league, and that helps you out quite a bit. So I'm just saying, I don't think it's any. Yeah, I don't think they'll win 12, but I can see them winning 10. And like I said, they'll get to the playoffs in my mind. They'll win a wild card game, and they'll lose in the divisional round again. I just hope that if we lose in the divisional round again, that this time we go out more respectable and we actually either A, have a chance to get our last play off, or B, we decide to run our last play in a regular formation. If one of those two things, if those two things are accomplished, I can't be so upset. That means that we actually tried to lose as a football team rather than losing as a sideshow. Because I don't know what the last play was last year. I don't think Zeke knew either. So, we're in the same boat. He just ended up on his back. So he had to end his career getting pancaked. Not even getting pancaked, just getting thrown on his butt. Because if he had thrown the other guy down, he would have pancaked him. But yeah, it's just, I feel for Zeke. Make sure that when you all lose, his last play for you isn't like that. His last play will be in the regular season with you all, of course. But, just make sure that it's not the same.
Wow. I feel as if you threw a very stiff jab at the New England Patriots.
The fourth best team in the division, NFC East. Yeah, I did actually.
Well, hey, just what I want with New England. We'll go back to Dallas. I want everybody to continue focusing on the Jets and focusing on the Dolphins and focusing on the Buffalo Bills. Continue saying New England sucks. Continue. We'll wait till the regular season starts.
Oh, man. You got Randy Moss coming out of retirement? You got Corey Dillon back there running the ball?
Yeah. They ain't coming through that door. Forget it.
We have Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott as our running backs.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's cool. Who's catching the ball out there? Who's catching the ball?
Yeah, that's gonna be we'll get that figured out. We'll get that figured out.
Okay, Dante. because see, I don't want y'all throwing food across the table at each other, okay?
We'll be fine. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. I think the key for Dallas, and I'm looking at the schedule, those first 5 games, is 3-2. Is 3-2 tolerable, or do you think they have to win at least 4 to really, really have a chance of making those 10 wins? Because it's a challenging schedule when you got the Giants and the Jets those first 2 weeks, and then you've got San Francisco a few weeks later.
Yeah, well,
that's a tough one.
He's really gonna get on me if they decide to mess around and lose to the Patriots. Okay, well then.
There ain't gonna happen.
As we sit here and think about that part.
Hey, I'll just tell you two this. You can go ahead and say whatever you want. Both y'all know, and Dante knows a little bit better than you, Gary. I don't talk and play. I just play. And that's all that we're going to say about New England. They will be seeing each other on October the 1st.
Yep.
They'll be coming to Foxborough, and we'll see what happens. The good thing is, Dante, the week before, you get to have a JV game, and you get to play the Arizona Cardinals.
The sad part is we were supposed to be playing a JV game last year, and we played the Titans. We didn't blow them out. It took we actually had to play that game seriously, so I can't rule it out.
Well, Kyler Murray will still be on the injured reserve at that point.
Yeah, saying here, we played the Titans and they started Malik Willis and they made it a challenging game for us last year. Malik Willis couldn't play football last year. I don't know if you saw it, how it went down last year. He couldn't throw it. He could run it, always run it, but he wasn't really that great a quarterback last year. Yeah, we struggled with them. So I'm not ruling out, was it Clayton Tune that they're going to be marching out there? Because they cut Colt McCoy. They're tanking. Oh, Josh Dobbs. I take that back. Maybe we can beat them. I take that. Wait, wasn't Josh Dobbs? He was in Tennessee last year.
That will be Washington's first win of the season. They will knock off the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to get into Washington with you because I feel like that's offensive because I don't know when they play them, but I know it's not immediately, so I know you're trying to insult them. But yes, I will take it back to what the question was initially, 3-2. If they can get 3-2, if they can beat, I think the Giants will get them on opening day because I think they'll actually be trying. I think they'll get the Jets, they'll get the Cardinals, and they'll get the Patriots, 3-2. I think they'll lose to the 49ers because it's just a mental game with us, and I think the 49ers are going to psych them out.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just run its old.
So you have Dallas starting at 3-2, right? So you say they beat the Giants, they lose to the Jets.
No, the other way around. Lose to the Giants, beat the Jets.
Okay, 1-1. You beat Arizona, 2-1. You beat New England 3-1, and then you lose to San Francisco 3-2.
That's what I have right now.
Okay, and what do I have right now?
Oh, 5 or 1-4. Which one do you have? I know it's one or the other. Yeah, right. It's one. It's one or the other.
Well, I have them beating the Giants. That's like every year the NFL has the Cowboys and Giants starting the season. So I got them winning that. The Jets, I'm I said last week on the Daily Deuce, and Gary was asking about it. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. He's one of the best ever. But I just don't know what's going to happen when something goes sideways with the Jets. And
And it
something's
will.
going to go sideways.
And it will.
Yes, absolutely.
So I can see the Cowboys starting off maybe 2-0, 3-0. You get to New England, well, yeah, 3-1. And then San Francisco. I can see him 3-1. I can see him 3-2 or 4-1 to start the season.
It's the same thing as always. I'd rather just get the. I'd rather get.
But I will say this to you too. By the end of the year, you're saying 10-7, maybe 9-8. Don't know. But and the reason I'm saying 9-8 is because of the discord and the disconnectedness I see that's going to happen with this team because of some of the moves that this general manager has made. It's going to cause a divide in the locker room. They're going to have problems. They're going to have the most talented team in the NFC East, much less the NFC.
Right.
But will they be able to stick together? I think they will struggle. I think they will have a hard time. McCarthy's trying to call plays because he's trying to save his job and he's betting on himself. He don't want to bet on anybody else. I think it's going to be, doesn't work out for him. And if this thing doesn't work out, they're going to go after Dan Quinn because he's right there. There's a reason why he stayed there and turned down jobs. And I want Quinn to get the job because the man that I really want to get another job and I don't want him to go to Dallas is a man that dresses like me every day. And I love the guy.
Coach Harbaugh?
Yes. Coach Khaki. Coach Khaki.
Yeah, because he ain't going to have a job at Michigan.
Gary, and I'll say this to you on this one. He will not have a job and he will leave on his own volition. And he's doing everything he can for them to push him out because he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't get along with the athletic director. He doesn't want to be there. He wants.
He's not going to get along with the NCAA. See, the thing with that suspension, however it is if the NCAA doesn't sign off, if they don't accept that, then there's going to be some problems, and it could be a longer suspension. My theory, and he ain't going for that. I think he'd rather quit than have to deal with that because then you're getting into the Big Ten schedule, and that ain't going to happen.
They're going to have a conversation behind closed doors where they're going to agree to disagree, and Coach Khaki's going to move on. And Dante already knows where I want him to move to. So, yeah. I'll share it with you now, Gary, and we can talk more about it tomorrow on our next episode which will be the Washington Commanders and Richard Miles. That's where he lands.
To bring this all full circle, Luke Schoonmaker went to Michigan. So we did discuss the Cowboys and the Michigan Wolverines. There you go. I brought it all full circle.
Sure. Well, I'm going to say this, Dante. Two things. They'll start 3-2, but one of those two losses will be a game they should not lose, and Arizona is the game that I feel like they'll lose that they shouldn't lose.
You don't think it'd be New England?
I think you're the only person here with faith in New England. When that's sad, because I actually agree with Gary more than I agree with you. I think they would screw around and just lose to the Cardinals, which is just even worse.
Yeah. I mean, and I can't base that off of anything. Is that there's always that one game, kind of like Tennessee, that they're going to look past, especially if they start 3-2, or excuse me, 2-0, which I don't think they will. I think which one of you had losing to the Giants, beating the Jets? Was that you, John?
I had them winning both to start the season.
I had losing to the Giants, beating Jets. I had lose it. Yeah, I had beat the Jets.
But I think they start 3-2, but one of those losses will be one that nobody expected, and I suspect it's going to be Arizona. And the other thing is, as much attention as Dak will have on him this year, I still think this is more of a pivotal year for McCarthy than for Dak, because I think because of who's waiting in line if Mike doesn't work out either early. I don't think they're going to fire him in season,
Nope.
because that's been rare. In fact, I think the last time they fired a coach in season was what? Was that 2010 with Phillips?
Did Wade Phillips? I mean, what was that Wade? Did he get fired in season?
That's how Garrett got the job, and then he rode it out for years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, it's just one of those things like, the plays that he calls for Dak, I think he's going to be more scrutinized than how Dak executes it, because the expectations for Dak, again, for all the attention that he's getting, the expectations are low for him, and everybody's going to say it's depending on what McCarthy calls for him that will determine his success. And McCarthy hasn't exactly shown any of us anything to really write home about. Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about throughout his whole tenure.
Well, like I said, Gary, he's betting on himself, because with this going on, the only person he can trust right now is himself. It's obvious right now, everything going on in Dallas. So he has to do this. I don't think it'll happen in the middle of the season. And like I said before, I don't want to see anybody lose their job. But I think at the end of the season, they're going to make some adjustments. And if that adjustment comes, the coach that will be there next is the coach that's already there, who's the defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, fellas, we got to wrap this up, because we've had a whole lot of fun talking about the Cowboys. And again,
Always fun.
Talking about the Dallas Cowboys, we could devote an hour to that. It's like time just flies. So I'm going to say Dallas will probably finish 10-7. I think they have a chance for 11-6, but they've got to get lucky in one of their division games. I don't know if that's going to happen, so I'm going to play it safe and say 10-7.
Yeah, I'm also agree with you and say 10-7, because I don't. Yeah, there's no gimme games anymore. Washington decided to actually try a quarterback this year, so it makes it a little bit more difficult now. They weren't trying last year, but go ahead, continue.
No.
I won't predict the record, but what I will say, I think Dallas finishes third this year.
I have a lot of respect for Ron Rivera. That's crazy. You had Washington as number 2, right?
You have to watch the episode next when we talk about the Commanders, see where I got them. That's a teaser.
Commanders in Dallas.
I got nothing for that one. I mean, I can't disagree with you. I just don't know how to add to that.
Yeah. I guess Ron Rivera's gonna keep his job.
I'll give you this. I got Dallas third, and there has not been a repeat champion for the NFC East in the last 20, 25 years, and it will not start this year. So I've given you that much.
That's fair. That's fine. That's
A
fine.
repeat check.
There will not be a repeat NFC East champion again this year.
Basically, you betting on Jalen Hurts getting hurt. That's fair. That's way that doesn't happen.
I've given you all that much. So we got 3 more. Gary and I got 3 more to do, and you'll be able to figure it out after that.
All right.
But I'll tell you that much.
Yep. And on that note, let's just say everybody tune in next time when we preview the Washington Commanders, right? Right, John? Okay.
Absolutely.
With one Richard Miles. Dante, as always, I've enjoyed having you on. I love it when you and your father debate the Dallas Cowboys, if not anything else in sports, because again, one of these days when I'm home, I'm going to come to dinner at y'all's house, Sunday dinner, and just listen to y'all go at each other.
It's going to be a time to be had. I mean, just, my only question is, when y'all do our next episode, I need y'all to really make him sit there and say with his chest that he really believes in Ron Rivera. I really need that to be like a sticking.
You talking about me or Miles?
No, it's not you. Yeah, I don't think you believe him either. I need somebody who's a fan of that team to really sit here and tell me they believe in the dream that he's going to sell them. But, I mean, maybe he do.
I'll save it for the next show, but next show I'll tell you what Miles told me today.
All right, that's totally fine. That's fine and dandy.
Well, folks, come on back next time on the Daily Deuce.
Hey, thank y'all again for watching us. Dante, nothing but love. Love you to death. Absolutely. Great show. Thanks for taking some time to come out I know you're busy right now. You got a lot of great things going on in your life, getting ready to happen for you. Congratulations to you as well. But everybody, watch some sports, watch some football, watch some basketball, watch some college football. If you get a chance, turn into the Peacock Network and watch one of the greatest college football teams of all time, Notre Dame, this Saturday. Check it out. But in the meantime,
are they actually playing somebody this week?
We always have somebody on our schedule, Gary, and we deal with them 1 week at a time, my friend.
Watch 50+ Rudies on one field.
On that note, thank you all. Take care. We'll see you again real soon.